A family is grief-stricken and bewildered after their loved one apparently took his own life today. Police were called to a Baintown community this afternoon after reports of gunshots. Jiminita Swain tells us about the scene which awaited them.
Police called to an apparent suicide at a home here on Hutchison Street just off Poinciana Drive. The lifeless body of a male was found just in this wooden structure behind me. Around noon Thursday, Superintendent Tommy LaRoda say police received reports of a shooting at Hutchison Street off Poinciana Drive. When police arrived at the scene, here's what they found.
We found house number 52B that a male had been shot in a bathroom area. This male was checked out by the EMS personnel and was pronounced dead. It seemed to be a single gunshot from a shotgun, and it seemed to be self-inflicted. The shotgun was also found on the side of this male.
Police were unable to say if anyone else was at home when the shooting took place, or even what may have led to the victim taking his own life.
This time we haven't received that information as yet. However, there's someone on the outside who directed us to the house and exactly where this male was found. At this time, the investigations are still in its first stages, and no note or anything was found. We don't have any other information of why this would have taken place.
Once news spread of the shooting, family members rushed to the scene overcome with grief. Unable to provide interviews to the media, family members identified the dead man as 36-year-old Derek Sands. They described him as a kind and quiet person. After police removed the shotgun, which was enclosed in a black case, undertakers then removed Sands' body. This is the second apparent suicide police investigated for the week. An unidentified 35-year-old female was found around 3 a.m. Wednesday at a residence in Union Village off Wolf Road. Police say the victim was allegedly found by a relative with a sheet around her neck. Investigations continue into both incidents. Stress and other personal issues are what family members say may have led to Sands taking his own life. Reporting for ZNS News Network, I'm Jiminita Swain.
Police are tonight looking into that apparent drowning on Goodman's Bay last evening. Preliminary reports indicate that the 31-year-old male victim, along with a friend, were swimming in waters at Goodman's Bay shortly before 7 p.m. when the male started coughing. It's reported that he exited the water and later became unresponsive. Emergency teams responded and took him to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead a short time later. Police have charged 27-year-old Claridge Road resident Oscar Ingram with 6 counts of rape and several counts of armed robbery and burglary. He's seen in the blue shirt. Ingram is accused of breaking into the homes of 4 Bahamian women and 2 foreigners who live in eastern and western New Providence between October of last year and June of this year and robbing them of cash, jewelry, passports, driver's licenses, and work permits, then raping them at gunpoint. In court today, Ingram was not required to enter a plea. The prosecution will file a voluntary bill of indictment to speed up the case. Following the arraignment, Ingram claimed he was being victimized by police and accused them of trying to frame him. You may recall that Ingram was arraigned back in July, along with 2 other men, in connection with home invasions and rapes in eastern and western New Providence. The case has been adjourned to March of next year. Lots of Bahamian features dominate the scenery inside the Lynden Pindling International Airport's new 226,000 square feet terminal, the international and domestic terminals. Greeting those passengers, looming large is a statue of a Royal Bahamas Police Force officer directing traffic. It took about 2 years for graphic artist Keisha Oliver to design this unique monument.
Also, it acts as a wayfinding system, and it also acts as a symbol of our national identity, because you see it everywhere. You see it in popular culture, you see it in souvenirs, so it just seemed right, it just seemed perfect. And when people come through, when they have been coming through, they're like, wow, he's huge. But I think the impact of it being so big, spanning over both floors, just makes it like so much better.
Well, now that Phase 2 is complete, NAD officials are working toward an on-time completion for Phase 3.
In Stage 3, it'll be stick, check, and roll. The domestic domestic old room and lounge area and domestic arrivals. And it's going to be a fantastic facility. It's going to be the same standard as what everybody sees here today and in the U.S. departure facility. So it'll be a world-class facility for our domestic and international passengers as well. We're building the system with capacity for expansion as well as technology that allows for expansion. And that can be through new counters for airlines to exist on, as well as technology that allows airlines to share counters. So when they operate at different times of the day, they can use the same counters.
During Wednesday's session of the House of Assembly, Member of Parliament for Long Island Loretta Butler Turner supported the resolution to borrow $77 million to be used for the completion of the New Providence Road Improvement Project. Butler Turner told the House there's proof that roadworks are benefiting Bahamians.
One of the greatest tests of what this road project has done is the first time that I took a ride from Saunders Beach to Carmichael Road and was able to move from the northernmost post on New Providence to one of the southernmost posts on New Providence in about 7 minutes. Unheard of previously. And for persons to say that traffic flow has not improved and that we have not been able to mitigate some of the frustration, the anger, and the stress that these projects have brought is nothing short of being duplicitous, being untruthful, not agreeing that these works are in fact something that is working for the interest of the Bahamian people.
Butler Turner claimed that the Member of Parliament for Cat Island, who is also the Minister of Works and Urban Development, has been praising the project since coming to government, though he only had criticism for it while in opposition.
I have heard very little criticism from that member with regards to what was done, and all of the cheerleading with regards to investigations to misappropriation and other insinuations that might have been levied at the Free National Movement Administration have seemed to have fallen to the side. And so, Mr. Speaker, obviously, now sitting in the position that he enjoys, he's able to see exactly where the Bahamian taxpayers' money has been spent.
He was just as animated on stage as he was off, and for years to come, we'll smile in memory of Berkeley Van Bird when we hear his smooth vocals leading songs like Paradise and The Best of My Love. The former lead singer of the T Connection passed away last evening after a short illness. Music Union President Percival Sweeting and Vice President Ronnie M. Brister remembered the man and the music.
He had that international exposure. He knew what he wanted. You know, it's just sad that he didn't stay around long enough.
See, Berkeley was a lovable person. You know, and when he goes to work, you know he's to work. If he's on the street, Berkeley was just Berkeley. He was different. You know, like some people say, well, you recognize some people by their demeanor, the things they do, their reaction and stuff. But when you look around, you see this head with his pretty colors coming on. That is Berkeley. Or the pretty jacket, or pretty red pants, or the big smile. I call it a big grin. That's Berkeley. And he was genuine. He was a beautiful person, a great entertainer.
Well, Van Bird was the lead singer and drummer with the T Connection in the 70s, the highlight of a 30-year career in music. Sweeting says the union will begin preparations for a concert in honor of Van Bird. Last year, the T Connection held a special concert, which Van Bird headlined. Funeral arrangements will be announced at a later date. The Caribbean Public Service Association held its executive meeting at the Super Club Breezes Resort this morning to chart a new course for better working conditions and relations with employees in the public service. Minister of Labor Shane Gibson noted his government's commitment to remaining labor-friendly and noted some of the plans in the pipeline.
When we go back to Parliament next week, we'll begin the process of debating these bills, where we will put the registration of these industrial agreements back in the hands of the Registrar of Trade Unions, which will then allow for all of these agreements to be properly registered. Of course, you know how strong we all feel about employers being able to apply for revocation. I mean, it cannot be right that employees apply for recognition and then employers could come behind and apply for revocation, so that would also be repealed and amended. The government of which I am a part of is indeed a labor-friendly government. And that's not just something we say, that's what we do. And we are proud of our legacy of working hand in hand with our trade unions to ensure that there is equity and fair play in the workplace.
The meeting wraps up on Saturday. The Executive Committee of the Fellowship of the Least Coin, an international women's prayer movement, wrapping up a special meeting here in the capital. The organization meets every year to discuss regional reports and how to fellowship with each other. During the meeting this week, the group approved grants for 38 projects around the world. Grants were also approved for the Pay Center, a facility which helps teen mothers complete high school, and the HIV and AIDS Foundation. Chairperson Shirley McGinley says the organization is all about helping those who need it most.
It is always good to know that we are undergirded with prayer and, looking at the spiritual aspect of it. And so these partnerships are extremely important. And with the Women's Bureau in the ministry, which we expect we will be moving towards the Department of Gender Affairs, and certainly we'll be looking at how to develop and to strengthen the family totally, women and girls as well as men and boys. And so these organizations again become very important to that work.
That was, of course, Social Services Minister Melanie Griffin. Now here's the chair of Fellowship of the Coin, Shirley McGinley.
As sisters of the faith, we feel that it is important to us to reach out to the women of the Bahamas as well as the Caribbean as we unite with you in prayer for peace, justice, and reconciliation. We have heard some of the issues and concerns you are having in your community, and it is those issues that we are also sharing in our community at home. And we are in solidarity with you as we ask God for his healing strength and his blessing upon your people. We also want to say that the Fellowship of the Least Coined, although it's a movement for women, we also care about men and children.
Another big movie night on the horizon. A Bond movie night is planned for later this week as the next chapter in the Bond saga moves ahead. And while you get caught up in the plot, you can also help out Rotary. The movie, The Spy Who Loved Me, will be shown as we get closer to the release of the newest Bond film, Skyfall. Skyfall falls in theaters worldwide November 9th. Also at the event, everyone gets another clue in the Heineken Bond Crack the Case treasure hunt. The hunt offers Bond lovers opportunities to win a briefcase of great prizes each week valued at $3,000 for 6 weeks until the end of November. Part of the proceeds from the event will help the Rotary Club.